Okay, we are there.
Wonderful. Welcome everyone to the Corporation of the Township of Bonnechere Valley. This is a special council meeting on Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. It's 2:02 p.m. and I am calling this meeting to order. We do have two items on the agenda today. First, I'll ask, is there any pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? I see none. All right, so our first item of business is the consideration to offer the purchase of a fire truck. And we do need to pass a resolution because this would be a sole source. But we do have a very unusual but important decision to make. So as we know, the insurance did come through on the truck that got toppled on that terrible icy night. And Daryl was able to source one for that 660,000 less the deductible. And it's full replacement loss, so thank God for good insurance. So the question is, we obviously have to buy a fire truck with our insurance as a replacement for the 05. The question there then is, the next fire truck we have to buy is in
2032.
2032. So there are two on the floor right now that are available for purchase.
Yes.
So the question is, we're kind of hedging our bets with tariffs here. Like, are we worried that tariffs are going to affect a purchase in 2032? There's also the emissions issue, correct?
The emissions issue and the fact that the trucks are going to be rising in price every year. So, and also that we have a 93 truck that's on the floor that is failing. It's getting worse every year. So the idea would be to replace the 93 with a second truck and then keep this in good shape. You know, we don't
For the next 30
for
years.
the next 30 years. Yeah. And the numbers are speaking for themselves of what the savings are going to be over and above. You know, we wait to be purchased now, will be purchased in 2032.
Well, I think the very important thing in Annette's report as well is that our borrowing power, our debt load is very, very, very good right now.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't put us in peril with the province or with our ratepayers. There is budgeted monies for a plow truck that we won't get until later in the year.
Yes, so the concerns, if I may,
Please.
the concerns with our debt load. Yes, we do have some room. We do have a plow truck that's gonna be ordered. So that's big, right? That's, you know, 380, 420,000, somewhere in that range. We also, at some point, are gonna have to talk about the garbage truck. We're waiting for a contract for recycling to try and decide whether we can afford it through that or what we're gonna do. You know, applications are back out for enabling water, John Street, it's 80% coverage. You know, we do have a lot of big projects and a lot of borrowing over the next little bit. I did look at Infrastructure Ontario this morning. This all came down, we were preparing for it, but you know, it was hard to know how much time to spend on it until we got our number from the insurance. I did look at IO this morning. They do loans for, because the bank will only lend you for a vehicle. The bank will only lend you for 7 years. But Infrastructure Ontario, for a fire truck, knowing that they're insured for replacement value for 20 years, will do a 20-year loan for a fire truck. At a decent rate. I think their average rate right now is about 4.4. You know, similar. So I mean, they're a little bit of paperwork. They're not perfect to deal with, but they're not the worst. You know, and then same with the tandem truck. You know, if we borrowed it over 10 years as opposed to 7 years, we do keep our trucks 10, 12 years. So it wouldn't be longer than you know, the asset would be in use. If we did that too, because once you're dealing with IO, you might as well deal with IO, Infrastructure Ontario, excuse me. So if we did that, you know, then what we're looking at right now, and what we put in our loans schedule that is in the budget binders is the tandem truck, and the payment for the tandem truck would be about $85,000 a year. If we did both of them through IO, extended one 10 years, one 20 years, got the better interest rate, you know, we might be at about $85,000 for both payments. So we sort of already have that in our schedule, but it would be separated like $33,000 over, or $43,000 here and $40,000 over there. So it wouldn't impact us if we went through Infrastructure Ontario for our loan. Obviously, it does impact because it is a big loan over a long period of time. So, you know, I know it's a tough decision. It's looking after the town in the long run. It's looking after fire services to make sure that 2 trucks show up on, because you need to have minimum 2 show up on scene that are both in good working order. You gotta have one fighting the fire, one getting water, the other one kicking in when the other one's done. So, you know, and like Daryl said, that's why I included his 1993 report. It's a tough call. So, I know we have some big projects. I know we have some loans coming forward. I think this is a good investment for the dollars, but I totally get, that it's 1%, that would be 1% on our taxes. More than what we estimated going forward. So, are we willing to start off like that right away, starting next year? So those are all, put that out there for your consideration, you know.
Yeah, and I will make it known that I'm not a fan of this idea at all.
Okay.
However, it does deserve some discussion.
Yeah.
Like, I think that the pragmatic person in me is thinking, yes, this is, but the fiscally responsible person is saying, no, 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 no. So I think that I'm at odds with myself and have been like that for 24 hours. Go ahead, John.
So just clarification, when you say 1% on our levy, that's the $85,000. Is that what you're saying?
That would be so really
That's
it's
the cost of the
it's
loan.
the 30, it's the
The
43,
40,000.
sorry, I keep saying
Okay,
30,
thank
the
you.
$43,000 would be the increase. We already approved in principle, I know budget hasn't come back to council, but in principle, we already approved the purchase of the plow truck.
Right.
So this would be in addition to that. Now, if we did spread them both over the Infrastructure Ontario term, we could still fit it within that term and within those dollar amounts, but you know, I do want to be, give council all the facts because I understand this is a big purchase. This is what we're weighing. You know, one of them is covered and the other one is not. So if we took this out, it would be, in order to cover that extra loan, it would be an extra 1% on taxes starting
For next year.
right next year. Yeah,
Yeah.
this year would be okay, but next year, that's the impact before we even look at anything else. So, you know, we have to think about that.
It just starts us off in a bit of a crunch.
Behind the.
But it's a unique opportunity that doesn't present
Yeah.
itself very
Yeah.
often. I mean, they brought it to my attention. You know, because they do service our trucks and they know that we're up against it with the 93. And at some point, there comes like, you know, what level of service do we want to provide our ratepayers? If our trucks can't get down the road, we're not doing them any justice. So, and I understand completely, this is a very difficult decision, but this has presented itself. That's why I brought it forward and Annette and I brought it forward.
Yeah.
If you were to wait till 2032, who knows what they're gonna do with it?
Yeah.
You know,
So the unique opportunity you speak of, that's not the new truck we're getting for our deductible, that's not even a question.
No, 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 no.
It's the
That's
second
not even-
truck
second
truck.
that is
Yeah.
available,
That's available.
that is going to be replacing a truck that is not urgently required right now, but
No,
will be
32
short.
years old. is
Okay,
pretty
no,
old.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
putting it in my mind.
Yeah.
The wheels are gonna fall off.
It's the fact that the truck is 1993. It's the fact that they're willing to sell us the second truck at a discount of $25,000, which is not nothing. It's the fact that it's gonna save us, you know, $15,000, you know, in maintenance as time goes on, but like over the full period. So, yeah, so it's a question of are we interested in investing further in our fleet? And then we don't have to worry for like 20 years.
What is the warranty on them?
I
Because it wouldn't matter for mileage.
Yes,
It would be
Yes.
years, right?
yes,
You know what, that's a good question, and I never did ask that one, so I will ask about that.
Because knowing that we
Yeah.
budget, and I don't have my budget binder with me, but knowing that we budget for repairs
Yes,
on every truck, and it's not in, I know that, you know, it's 5,000 here, 5,000 there, but, and then if you need it, you just bundle it.
yes,
But that is another consideration if you're talking about it being under warranty, and then we're not budgeting the, call it 20,000, call it 10 and 10.
Yeah.
So then you're talking 0.5% because we wouldn't budget for that for the 3-year or 5-year warranty
Yeah.
period. And that, does it say, Daryl?
no, I'm looking at the quote now,
Yeah.
but that's a valid question, and I'll answer it.
Yeah, because I think,
Yeah.
does anybody know, you don't, nobody's got their budget,
I can go get it, yeah,
let's, let Merv and Brent weigh in and then.
okay.
But if you're talking 20 grand a year, that also is not inconsequential.
Well, that's, you know, it's, you know, we budget $4,500 per truck, right?
Not for
So-
the pumpers.
Yeah, for the pumpers too.
Yeah, I think every truck
Yeah.
is 4,500.
So you're only talking.
Oh,
nine-
it's because you're not, the 93 used up, that's what I'm thinking
Yes,
of.
yeah,
My
Yeah.
bad,
Yeah.
it used up your budget for other
yeah,
trucks.
because I think we put in like close to
Right.
20,000, but if it's a 93 and it's going to be that way. Like if going forward, that's fine, we can budget $4,500 for every truck, but if going forward, that's the one we're spending it on year over year over year. Then the question becomes if our loan payment is $43,000 a year, but we're spending, let's say 10, let's go
Yeah.
lower, 10 a year. On maintenance on a 93, are we sure that's the right investment? And that's why we brought it forward. It's the age of the truck. It's the opportunity that we have. And it's a question.
Okay, Merv, what are you thinking?
I don't think we should defer things like, as she said. I think we should go with it now.
Oh, shoot, we lost Brent.
You didn't lose Brent, did you?
Brayden did. Excuse me.
We have
Oh,
enough.
there he is.
There we go.
Never lost.
There you go.
Well,
We lost
I
you.
figured everyone's gonna be on Zoom, so I was just,
I had to
Yeah,
come in
it
and
is.
do some errands, so I thought it best that I just, yeah.
So there is something else, I mean, with fire writer survey. If they ever come in and did an audit. The rates could go up for fire insurance because our trucks they're not like they're 93, would get you no credits whatsoever. If we were to have the both trucks and they come in and did an audit, we're gonna get a better rate, fire insurance could go down. We're thinking of maybe trying to have water shuttle accreditation, which is going to bring it down even more. Because we'd have apparatus that could probably do it.
See, that's what I'm trying to weigh out, and
Yes.
if I had been more prepared, I guess I would have looked at my budget binder before I came here today.
Yeah.
So, but that's where I'm trying to find the money somewhere else in your budget.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mark, sorry.
What I'm thinking about, should we be deferring things? This opportunity has presented itself.
My only
Should-
thing is that this truck doesn't need to be replaced for, call it 6 years, not 7,
Well, the
but
2012, but the 93, I mean, it's. We need 3 trucks in this township, we can't get away with 2,
no, absolutely.
Yeah,
That,
so-
yeah,
Yeah.
that's not even in question.
yeah.
Brent, what are you thinking?
well, there's a couple, I guess, obviously, like the next replacement truck isn't until 2032, so that is 7 years, and a lot of things can change in 7 years. Be it things go up, things go down, so that's the thing, everyone looks at the negative, but it's like, hey, inflation hasn't always gone up, for a fact. No different than you can look at your gas and diesel prices now versus 3 years ago, and when we budgeted items for that as well. But when it comes on, like, I guess the biggest thing, I guess, obviously, we need to know what the warranty is actually gonna be on for both equipments. The only concern I have on my end with having trucks with the same years. Yes, the next one's not for 7 years, but your replacement for both of those trucks are gonna start aligning up with each other, so when. Like, that's the only concern, especially when you have vehicles in the similar amortization schedules. That's the only concern I had, was that, like, yes, it's an opportunity now, but my other question was that, so we need one for sure. Like, I don't think anyone's in doubt with that, we're all. in
Oh, yeah,
agreement with that.
no,
We're gonna
that
need the
was-
one, but
yeah.
my question is, we need to get one. My question is for, like, yes, they have a $25,000 reduction. How long will they hold that? If we purchase the one and we make a decision on a later date for the second?
I think I know we're gonna lose out on it. And they're gonna stagger the trucks out. They said that the one the insurance is covering will be here by the fall,
Mhm.
October, September, October, November.
And that's why the other one's not gonna kick on for our property tax roll, for example, until your 1% will be next year for your
Yeah.
amortization.
Second truck, if we were to go that route, would come in 2026, probably about this time,
Mhm.
2026.
Yeah, you're still,
I know, we're
you're
still
still a
close.
year, like,
It's still a year
yeah,
separation. But it's kind of, again, it's a unique opportunity. If we don't jump at it, we're gonna lose it, we're gonna lose the chassis. And then a decision has to be made is, again, if we wait 5 years, what's the price gonna be? You know,
Well, we won't know no different than dump trucks. 5 years ago, it used to be 200,000 or
Yes.
250,000, and now we're like 400,000.
Yeah.
The thing is like, that's an example. We also don't make a lot right now, like manufactured things in Canada and United States either. So the thing is, a lot of things could change or they won't. On my end, like, obviously, we need to know what the warranty is, because no different than our dump trucks. We got Lemon last time, in my opinion, and the warranty is what saved us to
Same with
save
the
some money
2012.
in the 2012.
the
Yeah.
2012, it had problems from the jump.
yes,
Yeah,
And I mean, it's to Brent's point, you know, we just budgeted for a plow truck at county, it was whatever, 600,000. The last time we budgeted for one, it was 300,000.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it is scary.
Yes.
But
and I guess like, and the thing
Yeah.
is like, I guess the 2 points, especially for these purchases, be it one or two. Warranty, obviously, we gotta know what the expectations, everything is. Oh, and then there's, sorry, I just have to make a thought. Here, I'll go back to that point later.
okay, could we pause for a moment? Is there any chance you can find out what the warranty
absolutely.
is?
I'll make a phone call now.
Great, let's take a 2-minute break. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So the warranty is 2-year bumper to bumper, but there's also an addition, so for the whale and light package is 5 years, electrical's 2 years. Any structural is 20 years, the paint is 10 years, up to 100,000.
What's the drivetrain?
Same thing, it's 10 years.
Drivetrain is 10 years?
Well, and 10 years for, again, paint cap.
No, I'm
Probably 10
asking about the
years.
transmission and engine, the drivetrain.
All of that, that's probably the 2-year bumper. I don't know, he didn't give me that. He gave me everything else but.
Okay, that's the most important part of
That's-
this.
That's probably the 2-year. And then did you say we could buy an extension?
No, the electrical is 2 years, the whale and light package is, you probably could purchase an extension. He didn't say that, but there might be an option for that as well.
Because we did that with the plow truck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we extended the one plow truck and I guess, but my second point, Daryl, was for the insurable rates for like some of the rural residents, for example, does us having, I guess,
No.
it wouldn't change, eh?
No.
Even though technically our equipment's better and better to service, it wouldn't change
The rule
insurance
is-
rates off of that.
The rule
Because
is still
the
5
distance-
kilometers.
Yeah, it's distance based, not just, I didn't know if it's a calculation in general.
I think it's 5 kilometers industrial, 8 kilometers residential.
Yeah, so it wouldn't change anything where serviceable equipment is better.
If it's 8 kilometers residential, then that's changed. Because when we bought our house, it was 5 kilometers from a fire hydrant or fire hall.
So are we able to get confirmation?
And we're
of
8 kilometers
the
from the
Powertrain
village.
though?
I would think the powertrain would be, probably 2-year bumper to
The
bumper.
drivetrain.
Yeah,
Yeah, where it says bumper to bumper 2 years,
Yeah.
I would say it's included in that. And there's maybe the possibility of an extension similar to the plow truck. But I don't know that. I'd have to confirm that. They're not gonna give us 10 years on the powertrain,
That's why
not without purchasing an
There's
extension.
only one other company I've heard that doing that.
Not without purchasing an extension.
like when they're cars.
like I said, I know it's a big
Volkswagen
decision,
anyway.
but it's also, I mean, like, we're gonna be serving our ratepayers better at this. It's gonna be a boost to the morale in the fire hall as well. Because these guys know what they're going through on the apparatus. I know they're not spread out as far as you'd like. But I said the 93, we're throwing good money at bad. Right now, I fill it up with water and within a day it leaks out to half the tank. So we are assuming there's a crack in the tank. We don't know until Battle Shield is coming to do the pump testing. If there is a crack in the tank, it will not pass. So then what are we doing with it? Again, it's a unique opportunity. If we don't jump, we're gonna be just like you can pay me now, you can pay me later. I get it. I totally get it.
We didn't ask Alex what he would do.
I mean, you don't have to ask me my recommendation because you know what it's gonna be.
Yeah, and I tossed and turned about this last night, I'm not gonna lie, because again, there's a part of me that thinks, oh my goodness, yes, we should do this, and there's a part of me that thinks, oh my God, and you know what, Brent brought up a very good point that year over year as opposed to having a span of 5 years or
No, and I
for
get that.
replacement time.
And that's where I'm curious if there's, so no different than with, the plow truck, and that's what Ned had said previously, as well as like, we had issues, I think that was with the drivetrain actually, was it
Mhm.
not? We had-
Yeah.
And rad.
Yeah,
And
it's
the-
like,
yeah.
that's the thing, is like, I would want, because you are buying two amortization schedule at the same time, so theoretically, the usage can be quite comparable. So the only concern I have is eventually, like, if one has an issue, the other one's gonna have an issue, so what actually would be, like an extension on the warranty, or what would the cost be? Because there has to be some form of, I guess you would say, deal, if you're getting 2 trucks with 2 extensions, and the only reason I say that is like, if we have more of an extended warranty, and that allows us to put within our budget, like, where right now we have a budget like $4,500 per item in general. So the thing is, you would maintain that, and then you're just, because both of those expenses, your tires are gonna come up at the same time, and same as other items, that's all I was getting at, it might
No, I
give
understand
us a
that.
saving grace, especially.
But there's also an opportunity. I faced this when I was in GM. They had bought 2 trucks identical, same year. So I suggested that after 10 years of service, sell one. Then you get into a new truck and then you're into a 10-year rotation. So there is that opportunity here as well. 10 years in, you trade it in on another model and then you're into a 10-year rotation.
Mhm.
So you're not lining up at the same time.
Everything falls apart at the same time.
But this way, every 10 years, like you said, you got a 10-year gap. So you can prepare for it. That's an option that can be looked at as well, as opposed to having them lined up that close. It's just, you gotta understand it. I get it, I understand where you're coming from, but
Oh, I am not in opposition for, it. I just wanna make sure, because this is the first conversation we've actually had about it.
Yeah,
We're just trying to check the
absolutely.
boxes, and when I'm looking at it, it's just like, yeah, we have a serviceable debt load, yes, we could. But it is 1% for a payment on top of all our other equipment we have to go up, and like, I drove the roads department on the weekend, and you can take a look at our garbage truck that obviously we're gonna have to end up replacing later on as well, so you.
Well,
and we
hold
just-
on to that thought.
Well,
Can you figure-
okay, once we know how the actual
Yeah.
blue program's gonna work and your return on investment, this and that, but.
I, see, you're almost swaying me to considering that we wouldn't get the second truck until next year. My question then would be, what's the VIN? What's the 10th digit of the VIN? Is it still,
we would make sure that it lined up, because I went back and I said, I think I told you
Yeah,
already,
yeah,
I checked
you-
all the other trucks
yeah,
to make sure that the bins, that number was exactly what it was supposed to be.
oh, yes,
And everything else was good.
yeah,
It was just, that was probably a one-off, maybe not a one-off, but maybe it happens more often than you think.
maybe, but now you can share with your fellow fire chiefs.
Yes,
Um. See, I'm thinking also, even if there's a 2-year bumper to bumper, we are gonna save still about 20 to 30 grand in budgeting for maintenance.
right.
I'm gonna ask a really stupid question, and Alex, please don't put this in the article. Are they any more fuel efficient? No, I
Just
guess-
please tell me they're an electric fire truck, because that would be very depressing.
That's right, yeah, and when they get halfway through a structure fire, they just plug it in. It works really well,
Maybe with the emissions that are coming on them, they may be.
that's why I'm asking.
It's hard to really know, I mean, because they're changing the engines. To better emissions, and sometimes doing better emissions does not make the truck more fuel efficient.
No, and I did read that AMO report,
Yes.
and that kind of scares the bejesus out of me too. Only because they always have their fingers on the pulse. And if they're thinking tariffs, we're hedging our bets. We don't know. We don't know from hour to hour, day to day, week to week. We just don't know. Now that I'm gonna say the E word, now that our federal election is over, it will be interesting. But I think tariffs aside, my bigger concern is the emission expense down the road. That's far more scary to me than tariffs are. What's that? What? Did you read the AMO report? Yes, John.
So the mandatory 20-year replacement is a government policy regardless of mileage or function
Yes.
of truck.
It is the most arbitrary, ridiculous thing. It's very much like strong mayor power. It's
Mhm.
arbitrary and ridiculous.
And no fighting it right at this point.
It actually is from the FUS, which is the Fire Underwriter Survey, so we set the parameters. I mean, if you're in a bigger center, that also has something to do with it. It is like 15 years, but because of where we are, we can get to 20.
I'm good in F. Not gonna go there. You knew where I was going. It's no different than their bunker gear. They can only have bunker gear for 10 years,
Yes.
even if they use it twice. Again, arbitrary, ridiculous. We don't know why.
That's why we don't stockpile it, because if it sits on the shelf, it's losing life.
Which is so ridiculous, because that means that when you order bunker gear, little elves are making it in the manufacturing plant. Otherwise, it's sitting on the shelf there as opposed to here.
Well, they come up and they do measure and they make them as close as you can, but if we get it tested, I know we're going off on a tangent.
Yeah, no, it's,
Later,
it's not, sorry, it's
But if
not
we
part of
get
this meeting, I'm
tested-
just, it's so many arbitrary and ridiculous rules, I think that's all I was going for.
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions for Daryl about this? Because we do have to make a decision, we should make a decision. And I hate that we have to make a decision under the gun, but I do, if there is 25,000 as a carrot for the second one, I don't want to lose out on that if that's what council wants to do. Yes, John?
I'm in favor of the two fire truck option. And I don't think that tariff should influence us a lot. I
Yeah.
think that's too far an unknown.
I agree. Honestly, my reading that AMO thing again, that worried me more than anything in this whole thing, but
And even if it's true, we can't let AMO's possible prediction about changes in emissions control.
oh no, they're coming.
So that-
They're a definite.
That's not, yeah.
Yes, they
They're
So
a
we'll-
definite.
So,
So what they're saying is that if you're buying a 400 and I think $450,000 fire truck they have as the example, it would be more, what was that?
Yeah.
It would be more like 700,000.
those
Yeah.
standards.
Just. I mean, they,
And would we be grandfathered because these trucks were bought before the change in the regulations?
these will be
These
fine,
would be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So down the
but
road.
these $600,000 trucks, what, if you updated AMO's report, are they gonna be 800,000
Higher.
or higher? And that's concerning to me, but I agree, tariffs, that's a,
It's a negotiating mechanism that you just have to wait and see where it turns
Yeah.
out. It could be tomorrow, you're gonna get more tariffs or you're not gonna have less. So like,
exactly,
that's the thing. It's like stuff like that. It's like.
it's a moving target every hour.
Yeah.
But the emissions thing is a definite. Do they know the exact amount? No, they don't, but they do know that they're going to be more expensive, so that's.
But only taking, like, I took 10.5 for 26, 27, and then I did 4%, 4%, 4%.
Oh.
The chances of it being 4% are almost zero, but I was trying to be as conservative as possible.
That's very conservative,
And
yeah.
in 7 years, that takes us to 926,000. So we're at almost $1 million. So the question is.
That's without the emissions thing, that was inflation.
Yes, yes, yes. So that's.
See, I really do read what you do.
So my concern is, okay, if we spend $640,000 now. Or do we wait for 7 years and it might be $1 million, but as Brent said, we can't predict the future. 7 years from now, we may look back at this decision and say, wow, were we ever smart? Or we're gonna look back at this decision and say, darn, we really should have put it off. And that's the. You know, we're going with the information we have at this moment. But there's no guarantee one way or the other in 7 years from now where we're gonna be. So I know it's a tough decision.
Except the one thing I think that we can be absolutely sure of is they're not going to be less expensive in 7 years.
I think that's accurate. Are they
But
gonna be the same price?
Exactly,
Then we could have waited.
right,
Are we gonna start saving for a new one? Cause whether we pay into a loan of $43,000 a year, or whether we put $43,000 in reserves for 7 years, like, I don't know, what should we be doing?
I still don't believe they're not gonna be cheaper.
I know, I do.
It's how much more expensive will they get?
Yeah.
And your predictions are good, but that didn't include emissions,
No, it did not.
so,
I
Yes,
tried to
John.
be conservative.
So are these fiscal pros, number one, if we act, we may save $25,000 on the ticket price. Is that
yes,
correct? Number two, because we'll have two new trucks, we'll be able to budget for maintenance service or repairs, I should say, as we've done. And that will certainly dump over into our reserves because it's much less likely we'll need to use that repair money. Is that right?
well, okay, so the challenge is that most of the money that Daryl budgeted in 2024 for all the trucks,
We know where.
all went to the 93.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge. Now, thank goodness we were we were prudent enough to budget all those. But he basically used almost every dime on that 93. So if you can budget for the rescue van and the 2 SUVs. But not worry about maintenance on 2 new trucks, there will be a savings there in our budget.
But that will go to fund the loan. So
Yeah.
at the
Oh,
end of the
sorry.
day, we're
Yes.
looking at a 1% increase to fund it all, but instead of putting that money into repairs, we're putting it into a capital investment. Is, but
No,
it
then
increases
wouldn't-
the cost,
But
right?
it wouldn't be 1% then, because
Yes,
we're already
yeah,
budgeting.
yeah.
So you're looking at more like 0.5%, maybe
Yeah,
0.7%.
yeah, 0.7, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm still torn.
Or we buy the one and
I know,
repair the 93 and put off for a future decision.
but is that also, Daryl's only got so much repair budget for every truck, and is everything going to be absorbed into the 93 in the 2025 year?
And he's being honest about saying we're possibly only one inspection away from them condemning the 93.
It's such a shame, because it's the best pumper we've had in the fleet forever.
Years ago, yes, but the last few years, I mean, yeah, it's really, well, it's 32 years old, right? It's, you know, it's served this township well.
I know what you're gonna say.
Good year.
Totally
It's
different,
not my year.
totally different.
93's falling apart, Brent's falling apart.
Yeah, no, that's not what I
Tip top shape.
said.
Alex was like -10 at that point.
That wasn't where I was going.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think the thing is like when it comes to a service line like this, it's not, guess you would say like you're trying to maintain your fleet. Like right now, we're short one to begin with, and your second in line is the 93. And hey, I was in good defense of that 1993 because it's a great year and it's a great truck. But the thing is I understand the long term of it, that it is gonna have to get replaced. And we do have an expanding township. We're trying to get more, say, firefighters, recruitment, everything like that. But most importantly, like, hey, we haven't seen our calls. We had a very high numbers. That was your first year on, actually. And then the numbers, yes, they've dropped, but they really haven't dropped into some
I
of your
blame him.
historical. So like, the thing is, I'm just looking at, it's like, what's the best way? We have one of the highest kilometer roads in Renfrew County for roads to drive. We
Yeah.
wanna make sure we have serviceable vehicles.
I'm not trying to sway, but in this month alone, April, I think I have 14 SIRs in my box.
Oh, that's not good.
We've
I-
been running.
I have,
Oh, no,
I
I
have
did-
another really stupid question that
Oh.
just occurred to me.
Oh.
Will this truck fit in the Foymount Fire Hall?
Yes, it's the same truck,
Okay,
it's the same dimensions, everything's the same.
okay.
So it actually, so it,
Yeah,
Everything is the same.
but that garage door that's on there right now, it can fit in there, no issues.
The one up in Florida.
Yes.
Because we have the rescue van down here, so we're actually freed up space.
Oh, okay, so you're not
We're
jockeying
not
them
jamming two
anymore.
trucks.
Okay,
Yeah,
Mm.
okay.
yeah.
That's, well, okay.
Yeah.
Cause apparatus is not getting smaller.
No, but it's the same size. It's the exact same truck that we're replacing.
Okay.
So then your intention, so how would you split up the trucks? Like what is your intention if you got, say, both of these like trucks, where's the actual placement of them all?
Well, it gives us
I'm not trying to get into
options.
logistics, I'm
Yeah.
just curious.
Well, the tandem is a bigger truck, so sticking it up on the hill may not be the best place. for it. So
No.
you could put one down here and
And
then
one
one
up
back up
there.
there. You know, and then we got good coverage with the tandem as a support.
So 2012 would just stay as your support then? That's the tandem.
The 2012.
Yeah, sorry,
yeah.
the
Yeah,
2012, sorry.
2012, yeah,
I'll call it by year.
yeah, no worries. And then for staffing, right, and for the individuals that go to the Foymount, you have individuals.
I
that-
have, there was one and then someone else just applied and we are interviewing them soon and they live up there as well, so we'll have 2 staff members up there. That's the reason about not having too many apparatus up there, because I mean, things could change up there, we don't know. But
Right.
for right now, most of everybody's responding here.
I feel like though, having a pumper truck is very important
Yes.
for up there.
Yes.
A rescue van might be less so.
Yeah.
And I also think for insurance purposes, the whole point of having a haul up there
Yes,
is exactly what Brent just brought up, where, oh my gosh, now their insurance, or they can't get insurance, God forbid. So I think that was a prudent move. Now you've got the room down here, although you're filling it up pretty quickly, I guess. But it's good to have the room. It's this, and I think that not having to jockey
Trucks around
vehicles
up
up there makes you far more efficient as well.
One, I think that is like, and I think on my end, for example, I think it's a commitment by the, say, township of Entre Valley to ensure that, like, we're maintaining our fleet, but most importantly, we're maintaining the safety of residents. I think that's kind of like a viewpoint I look at, because you can look on your, other hat you wear, which is your building official or building permits. We've sustained very good growth. We've had new projects and things like that. I think it makes sense, to maintain if you're and we're in an odd predicament. There's not many municipalities that unfortunately have rolled a fire truck and have to get a new one. And I've shown people the pictures of that, and they're like, they've never seen something like that. So it's a unique situation we're in, and I think for when we're looking at is an investment to a municipality for 1% property taxes a year, especially when where our loan schedule's at. I think, me personally, I think I can work with that. It just means that going to budget next year, that's a realization that we're gonna be accommodating for that going into it. And I think strategically, it's like, yeah, for the amortization schedule, you can base that around in the sense that we already budget 4,500 per vehicle now, and you're taking off your weakest links technically.
Definitely, not technically, definitely.
Oh, that's a conversation we had that was a conversation we had last year. It's like, you're only gonna put so much money. It's like the old used vehicle analogy. It's like, you're only gonna put in $5,000 a year on maintenance. Once it exceeds that, you're gonna look at other avenues as well. So.
Okay, it sounds like we made our decision then. Everybody's in favor of buying the two. It's gut wrenching, but I do think that there will be savings in other budget line
In
items.
the long run.
Yeah, and I think, I'd like to know what the cost of an extended warranty would be on the drivetrain.
Yes.
Like, that's extremely important. But I do think that it's not gonna be a full percent. So if we could get it down to even 0.5% saving on other line items in your budget, like your wages perhaps. We could just take it right out of fire chief wages.
Well, we will do our part.
And so this also qualifies as a sole source purchase?
Yes, and I've got a
But we can do
resolution.
both today.
Yes, okay. Oh, except I don't know what the total is now.
I didn't fill it out because I
I
didn't know
know.
which way we were gonna go.
I
So
know.
here.
And Daryl, you're going to, find out the VINs.
Yes,
Thank you.
I will make sure about that.
Okay, yeah, because I don't want them both being 2025s.
I actually went online and they do have a place because of how to read the bin, so. There is a place you can go.
I can do them off the top of my head. if
Well,
you'd
you
like.
can, because you were in the industry for a bit. It was, like I said, it was a unique situation.
Yeah,
When I take it to the chiefs meeting, maybe you've heard of it, maybe they haven't, so we'll see.
they're pretty easy, actually. The first digit is the
Yeah.
country, the second is the manufacturer. Then they've got codes
Yes,
for the different makes, or for the different models. 10th digit is the year, and then the 7 digits after that are how they roll out.
yeah, it's just the way when I looked at it, like they just go from A to Z and then we started A to Z.
No, but they also they did 1 to 26, I think,
Yeah.
at one point, then they went back to A to Z. Yeah, it got a bit confusing. That's why I said to you that day, it should be a C, and you said, no, it's a 3. And I'm like, they went back to the numbers, yeah.
So,
I mean, maybe part of all municipalities when they put out requests for proposals or requests for bids. That might be, bid may be part of that proposal request now.
Well, I think that this is a really good public service announcement, and this is very interesting. So in 2015, we bought a pumper truck that was delivered in 2016. In 2005, my apologies, we bought way back, they bought a pumper truck in 2005 that was delivered in 2006. This is the pumper truck that got in the terrible accident rollover. Unfortunately, the chassis, although the fire truck was built in 05 and delivered in 06, the actually chassis, the VIN is actually 2002. So this is a very important public service announcement when you're buying a vehicle, to make sure that even if you think you are buying and insuring a 2005, you might not be. There you go, that's my,
Jared has checked the VIN, for sure.
check the VIN,
Yeah.
always check the VIN. All right. I have a resolution dated this 29th day of, I'm gonna read it to get it on the floor, guys. Dated this 29th day of April 2025, whereas the fire chief deems the purchase necessary through a sole source as per part 5 of procurement bylaw 2023-017. And whereas the township received $660,090.92, less $10,000 deductible plus HST from insurance in respect to the loss of the 2005 fire truck. Now therefore be it resolved that the council of the township of Montashire Valley approve the purchase of 2025-2026 Freightliner pumper tanker trucks from Battlefield Industries Limited and the amount of $1,292,000 plus HST. May I have a mover and seconder for this, please? Moved by Brent, second by John. Discussion. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you, council. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, Darryl.
Well, I do appreciate it. The ratepayers are going to appreciate it, and the firefighters are definitely going to appreciate it. So,
We'll
Well-
know in 7 years.
We will.
yes, and
Well, we'll know before that.
Yes.
We'll know
it
as
should be a
things,
trend, I would.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
So,
But again, we'll also know by our neighbors buying pumper trucks with new emissions that will be
Yes.
increasing in cost.
Yeah.
Because we talk all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now the next thing we're going to do is have a
Yes.
meeting where closest Paul goes.
Mhm.
It's gonna be my next demand. Can't talk about it today.
That's fine.
All right,
Fine.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, so Gerald sent, I felt so bad. Did you read my email back to him? That he was kind of planning his own party?
Yes,
I felt bad.
but
Anyway,
I think that's what he wants to have input into it.
and he should,
So
absolutely.
don't feel too bad.
No.
He's enjoying
So,
himself.
but so this is years ago. EACDG wanted this project on Water Street with lights. Right? And then weirdly, we got that request during budget for lights down Water Street. But now I guess solar has come a long way. Did everybody read Gerald's report?
Mhm.
It's very interesting.
Mhm.
Are we walking it tomorrow night or Thursday night?
Well, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I haven't confirmed the time, Gerald, but yeah, we can.
Okay, it's just, I'm a bit, yeah, I don't know what time I'll be back, but in any case. So now. And for anybody watching us on YouTube, don't spread this around because Gerald really wants to announce it on May 25th. But he's got a great idea, and our skin in the game is some labor and some cement.
I think for the labor and cement, it's a no-brainer because a good example is we installed lots of signs, like museum signs last year.
Absolutely.
I think it's a common sense approach and, no, it makes sense.
But I said to him, this is so timely considering we just denied the request for 3 lights. So it worked out beautifully. Now, I know solar is not. They're gonna be more for ambiance, I think,
Well,
but
yeah.
they will give a little bit of light.
Yeah, this is more for the ambience on your Water Street
Yeah.
side for like where your old railway was, and it makes sense.
It'll be pretty.
There's a conversation, the EACG, that had been 8 years ago with Claude and Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
Because Claude Chartran was the one that originally had, like piloted this originally, and, no, it makes total sense.
But the
Like,
wiring
shift.
alone, because they weren't sold.
It was very
It was
expensive.
substantial,
Yeah, I was trying to get an updated price on it, and I know on one of them I got, it was, very, very expensive.
Okay,
And this is
and,
a very good, and like Shawville has it, and that's what Gerald sent the pictures in as well.
yeah. But, and that was only 5 light standards, I believe, at that time.
Oh, yeah, it was only 5 on the water because
Yeah.
they're larger, formal based systems, or these are, like, it's good ambience project. It makes sense.
Yeah, no, it'll be very, and it'll still provide light. And now the people that are down there that wanted a street light or 3 installed, now they'll at least have light.
And they may even think we gave it.
Well, now they're not going to, John, wait, no.
But I think if council agrees in principle, then we can sort of give Gerald direction and he can work on his plans.
Yeah,
And then make the announcement and we can work with him for that, so.
because I think his idea is to get each light sponsored.
Mhm.
So, I guess in Shawville, there were, did he say 20 of them, but he thinks maybe we need 30?
I think it was like 10 and a
10,
0.2 span, and
yeah.
ours is a 0.5 kilometer span on that, like the hillside there, pretty much. So then I think it was 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's right.
And then if it goes quite well, then it's on our end for when you're looking at like your ambience and bring people to township, it's like you look at your other parks from like your boat launch or the fishing dock to McCrea's Park, right? So there's
People really like lighting in this town. They really do.
you know what, lighting is very important for a lot of things and stuff, like, because I used to do a couple apartments in Ottawa. They're in the safe program. It was with the City of Ottawa Police Department for safe communities and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So with when you have adequate amount of lighting, that's what it's considered for a lot of safe communities, because there's no dark spots. So
Yeah.
like, and that's the thing. So it really does, especially we have a lot of like, well, we have 2 huge, like 2 good sized cute schools in our community. We have very active senior association, and a lot of, and our population in Renfrew County is a lot of seniors. So it makes sense to add more ambience lighting and things like that.
I was just thinking they'd be pretty, but people really do like the lighting in this town.
Eganville, the brightest town in
It's-
Renfrew County.
I like
bringing the
it.
Light to the
I-
center of the universe.
I like it. So the second thing, and this is for the future, but recognizing volunteers and having plaques
Mhm.
or their names in now what will now be Gerald Tracy Park.
Mhm.
So I understand though, everything else is organized and done. Yeah, and I think it'll be a great day, but if we're good with that, we're just accepting the correspondence.
Yep.
But I just wanted to make sure that we had a chat about it before Gerald announces it and we all go, what do you mean what are you doing?
So that we can let him know that council agrees in principle and he can carry on organizing.
Exactly, and finding sponsors.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, but even with sponsors, the previous, the hardwired ones, there's no way. They were really expensive. Like the infrastructure was expensive on top of the actual lights, so. All right, I have a resolution dated this 29th day of April 2025, whereas direction has been given to staff. Now be it resolved that the correspondence regarding Gerald Tracy Park be filed. Moved by Merv, seconded by Brent, all in favor, and that is carried.
I dream of the day when Brent's idea of a remote switch to turn on and off the lights on the bridge is moot because they'll be all solar powered.
Yeah, or some other, yeah, I don't know. A
'Cause people do
resolution
like
dated
those.
the 29th day of April 2025, the bylaw 2025-021, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council be read of first time, be deemed for the second time, be deemed for the third time and passed. May I have a mover and seconder? Moved by John, second by Brent, all in favor. And finally, everybody's favorite resolution dated this 29th day of April 2025, that the special council meeting be adjourned at 2:57 PM. Moved by